Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP TV16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16 Update.
Good evening. It looks as if the West Side landfill in Luzerne County may have to accept Philadelphia trash after all.
And while the landfill authority works to keep open the landfill, communities that use the dump are worried about what might happen if it closes. The state has ordered the West Side landfill shut down at the end of the month. Tonight, member communities met to talk about that closing.
Nightly reporter Joe Ducey was at that meeting. He's in our newsroom now with more. Joe?
Well, Karen, the DER landfill closure date is only 12 days away. Tonight, member communities heard that there are emergency plans set in case that landfill is closed, but they also heard those plans rest on finding another landfill to take their garbage. West Side Landfill Authority members, of course, are hoping there won't have to be emergency plans. They told community representatives gathered in Wyoming that they're doing all they can to keep the landfill open past June 30th. That now means constant meetings with DER. If nothing happens by next week, it will likely mean going to court. These people were glad to hear landfill officials are confident about keeping the landfill open. But what about if it's closed? Well, there are emergency plans, one that uses the landfill as a transfer site.
In that event, the authority then, and this would be a policy decision for the board to make, would have to consider turning the landfill into a transfer station for the garbage that would be generated by the member municipalities, and thereafter transfer that garbage to a realistic alternate disposal facility.
The problem here is finding another landfill to take the trash. So far, no area landfills have said they would. Authority officials will continue to try and find one. If they can't, there are predictions of communities full of garbage on their streets. Now, as it is, a landfill has very limited dumping space available. Because of that, Tuesday, the board voted to keep all outside garbage outside of northeastern Pennsylvania out of the landfill. Well, now we learn that may not be possible because some outside firms, some from Philadelphia, may have legal contracts to dump there. Officials also say even if the landfill is not closed on June 30th, there are only about 120 dumping days available for current space. And that will only change if DER approves the construction plans to open other areas of the landfill. Karen, Nolan?
Thank you, Joe. Model and actress Donna Rice told almost all tonight about her relationship with former presidential candidate Gary Harch. In an exclusive interview on ABC's 2020, Rice told Barbara Walters that she feels she's been exploited by the media and used by her so-called friend who sold pictures of Rice and Harch together to a newspaper.
Tell me what it's done to your life. What's it been like? You know, it has been the most difficult, painful, and humiliating experience. And it's been really tough. The most painful thing for me has been seeing what this does to my parents. They've always been so proud of me, and they've been just... It's been horrible for them.
And when asked if she ever slept with Gary Harch, Donna Rice said she would not answer that question.
The woman who allegedly had an affair with former Reverend Jim Bakker gave an exclusive interview today to a New York City television station. Jessica Hahn told WABC's Bill Butel she wishes everyone would quit harping about the PTL scandal.
People need to get back on track, including Jim and Tammy. They need to stop. Enough is enough. If you have something to say, handle it. Take care of it behind closed doors. Don't hold a press conference every time something happens. Let's get past this. I mean, the same with Jerry Falwell. He needs to grow up. He really does. You know, on the air, he comes across as Mr. Clean, but I'm sorry. You know, there are things that, you know, as a man of God, he needs to do too. He needs to get on and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing.
But the bickering continued today. Reverend Falwell said if the bakers are running out of money, they should get jobs. The EPA is promising to give more information next week on a new $2 million water system for an area plagued by contaminated wells. In Monroe County, 25 homes in the Reeders area of Pocono and Jackson Townships have toxic chemicals in their wells. The EPA traced the industrial degreaser to an old and closed landfill in Reeders. The project will include piping from a clean well to the affected homes. Details of the project will come from the EPA on Monday. Federal funds will pay for the Readers project, but affected homeowners will be charged up to $200 per year for their clean water. More on money for water, this time for two small Luzerne County water companies. The state has approved a $100,000 loan to Shikshinny Water Company and a $350,000 loan to Midway Manor Water Company in Shavertown. The loans are used to improve water service for their customers. And if your family has a limited income of under $35,000 a year, you might still be able to own a home. The state is putting up $55 million for low-interest loans. You must apply at one of 31 banks in Pennsylvania that will handle the loans. Dates for applying for the 8.5% 30-year loans, July 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you want more information, call this number after 8:30 in the morning, 1-800-822-1174.
Coming up, why the bigwigs are coming to Billtown.
Why a crowd of young men mobbed a new member of Italy's parliament.
Plus, a little later, why these residents of the Newswatch 16 Update Video Zoo are packing for a trip halfway around the world. All as Newswatch 16 Update continues.
Even though my oven stuffer roaster parts are incredibly tender and delicious, my guests hardly ever come back for seconds. They don't have to. My oven stuffer parts are nearly twice the size of the little things some people barbecue. I just want parts a meal in itself, even for really big eaters. Anybody ready for seconds?
Oh, no. No, can't handle it.
I didn't think so.
Come on down to the new Keepers.
Shop around at Keepers Jeans. Won't you come on down and have some fun with me?
Come and get to know us in a brand new way. We're Keepers, Jeans, and more. We always have the lowest price on blue jeans around here, but now we've got much more. Much, much more.
I'll meet you down at Keepers. Keepers Jeans and more.
In Berwick, Wilkes-Barre, and Kingston.
The suspense is over for local shoppers and 600 department store workers. 12 Pomeroy's department stores, including 3 in our area, are being sold to the York, Pennsylvania-based Bonton chain. Pomeroy's downtown Wilkes-Barre store, which will be closing soon, is not included in the sale. It is not known if the new owners will change the Pomeroy name, but store officials hope the deal will be finalized by mid-August. Pomeroy workers say they are relieved by the news of the sale to Bonton. The chain owns 19 stores in 3 states.
Some bigwigs from a big company came to Williamsport today, and area officials say it's a big deal. As Newswatch 16's Dan Fiorucci says, 17 top executives of the Grumman Corporation in New York decided to have a meeting on campus.
So far as anyone can tell, it's the first time a National Board of Directors held a meeting in Williamsport. They met here at Williamsport Community College's Professional Development Center, a modern building designed specifically to attract major corporate gatherings.
I think the corporations that are going to want to look and meet here are companies that are on the cutting edge, if you will, of technology in this country, leaders, if you will, companies we'd like to have here in Northeast Pennsylvania.
This facility isn't quite complete yet, but when it is, executives will not only have a pleasant place in which to hold meetings, they'll have at their disposal modern telecommunications facilities that will allow them to talk by way of two-way television hooked up to satellites with corporate branches anywhere in the world. Community leaders believe this place will serve as a magnet, drawing business to Williamsport.
You can bet on the plane ride back, these fellows will be talking about what they saw here.
I think actually the area sells itself. It's a real treat for everybody that's come here.
The hope is other corporate executive officers will meet here and be impressed with Lycoming County, and that their impressions will translate to investments and jobs for the area. Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16, Williamsport.
There's still no sign of a former ABC newsman who's been kidnapped in Beirut.
And the captain of the USS Stark is about to lose his command. We begin our trip around the world in a minute with the story of Captain Glenn Brindle. Reports say he'll be court-martialed for being negligent during the Iraqi attack on his ship.
There are also reports tonight that ABC's Charles Glass has been kidnapped in Beirut to prevent him from testifying against an alleged hijacker. The streets of South Korea's capital were overflowing with protesters today, demanding a democratic government.
Secretary of State Schultz is in Singapore urging Asian countries to open their doors to American products. The Vatican is being criticized for setting up a meeting between the Pope and accused Nazi Kurt Waldheim.
A porn star who was recently elected to Italy's parliament was mobbed by a crowd today after briefly baring her breasts. Surgeon General Koop says education, abstinence, and condoms are needed to stop the spread of AIDS among teenagers.
And finally, it was Ladies' Day at Great Britain's Ascot racetrack today, but it seems there was more attention on royal fashions than the races. And that's the world in a minute.
Nope, in 59 seconds.
Oops, sorry.
Next, meteorologist Tom Clark will be trying to stretch this spring of sunny days into the weekend.
I know we need the rain. We really do. My backyard's dry, but boy, I'd like to have a nice weekend.
Please, don't ask me about the weekend.
Okay. We know you're going to tell us anyway.
One way or the other, good or bad. And when we come back, I'll tell you what's headed our way. You're watching Newswatch 16 Update on WNEP TV. We're proud to serve Allentown and all of Lehigh County.
Wake up out of bed, don't be late, sleepyhead. Wash your face, comb your hair, brush your teeth, hit the stairs, head for the kitchen door. You know you're heading for the Berwick Fair today. Fireworks, pony rides, riverboats, country pride, rodeos, beauty queen, the biggest stars you've ever seen. Lots to do, whoopie-doo. You'll be heading to the Berwick Fair today. Get that best time, summertime feeling shining down your way. That best time, summertime feeling at the Berwick Fair today.
Out to the backyard. Tom, how is it out there?
It's a lovely evening, Nolan. Not quite as cool as it was last night. Clear skies overhead. Just 2 full days left of spring. The summer solstice begins Sunday evening at 11 minutes past 6, and that marks the beginning of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Too good to last, this week's weather. I think we'll see a change for the worse as we head into the weekend. Now, beginning tonight in Union County, my weather watcher Don Siebold tells me 70 and mostly clear in Mifflinburg tonight. David Harmanos in Bethlehem has 78, and Maureen Littleford tells me 70 at her place in Shavertown. Newswatch 16 intern photographer John Daniels shot this beautiful sunset tonight along Route 307 near Lake Scranton. Those cirrus clouds indicate that warmer air is beginning to move back in. 68 in the backyard now, the humidity 62%. The wind from the southeast at 7, the barometer now beginning to fall just a bit from 30.1 inches of mercury. 85 the high here today, plenty warm, and 51, a cool start at dawn today. 93 degrees, the record high set back in 1957, and a beautiful day 1 year ago, the high a cool 70. Checking the radar scan quickly, Skywatch 16 is not detecting any rain within 200 miles of home tonight. Things could change over the weekend. Here's the cloud photograph. Now, what we have are just some high scattered cirrus clouds over the state of Pennsylvania now. That dry, clean air mass over us the past 3 days is now moving out to sea, unfortunately, and replacing it some hot air. I mean, out to the west today, record highs in Michigan and Indiana, like 96 in Grand Rapids, Michigan today. Some of that air will blanket Pennsylvania tomorrow. We should be close to 90, and it should be a dry day, but we do have another front heading our way from out of southern Canada, and it looks like it will kind of stall out as it passes by and gets to the south of Pennsylvania this weekend, so the clouds are going to return along with the chance of some much-needed rain. If you're heading down to the shore this weekend, it's nice down there tonight, but it looks like it's going to be mostly cloudy down there this weekend. Temperatures close to 80, and ocean water temperatures hovering in the low 60s. For tomorrow, a Friday, one of the hottest days so far this year, getting up close to 90 in Montrose and Daleville and Allentown. 93 tomorrow. I'm predicting 91 in Middleburg, Hughesville, and about 90 degrees. Some clouds overhead, not quite as bright and sunny as it was today. A southwest wind up to 14. And the sunrise time tomorrow morning, about 5:30, give or take a few seconds, and sunset tomorrow is at 8:39. For tonight, it's going to stay mostly clear, kind of mild, anywhere from the upper 50s to lower 60s for lows tonight. About 88 tomorrow, a mostly sunny and hot day. The humidity not oppressive, but it will be a bit higher. Then on Saturday, partly sunny. There is the chance of a shower late in the day on Saturday, and looks to be mostly cloudy on Sunday as we see it now.
Well, what has to be, Tom.
That's right.
That's what I see coming.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Thanks. Coming up, Tim Carlson on the Sports Watch with the Yankees, Mets, and Phillies highlights.
And speaking of the Phillies, they had a new manager for this afternoon's game.
Calgon Water Softener for the cleanest clean in the hardest water.
You start me up, you rinse me out. That's what Calgon Clean is all about.
Calgon helps detergents burst into suds and rinse out incredibly clean.
You start me up, you rinse me out. Hard water I can do without.
Calgon, it's the cleanest clean I've ever seen.
Calgon Water Softener for the cleanest clean in the hardest water.
How would you like to buy furniture for one low monthly payment? You got it with a Nathan's Furniture Charge Card. You want this contemporary bedroom for just $45 a month? You want this 5-piece dinette for $25 a month? How about this country-style sofa for $25 a month? Or this bookcase waterbed for $25 a month? You got it with your Nathan's Charge Card.
There is definitely no high pressure here at Nathan's.
And we save money.
The lowest monthly payments? You got it at Nathan's Furniture, Hazleton and Pottsville.
Well, it took a while, but musical managers has begun in the baseball world.
Very good, Karen. You've been following your sports. Glad to see that.
Always.
She's absolutely right. This is the longest it's been since a managerial change this year. A shake-up in the Phillies organization today, but I'm not sure how much good it'll do. John Felski is out, and Lee Elia is in as manager of the Phils. This afternoon, Phils president Bill Giles made the announcement at Wrigley Field in Chicago before the Phils game with the Cubs. He introduced Lee Elia as the new manager, and Elia had a chance to give his little rah-rah speech to the media. Felski leaves after 2 years as manager with a 190 and 194 one-loss record. Not very good, and I guess the Phils had just had enough of the team's lackluster approach to playing under Felski. Now, Elia's been a Phillies man on and off since 1980. He did have a short managerial stint with the Cubs in 82-83, but was fired. We'll see if Elia's fiery type of personality as opposed to Felski's low-key personality makes a difference. Elia got the chance to manage the Phils for the first time at Wrigley this afternoon. There he is. Juan Samuel gave the new skipper a good start. A first-inning solo homer, number 11 on the year, and Samuel now has a 13-game hit streak. It was 1-0 Phils, but the Cubs came back fast, took a 4-1 lead in the third on a pair of 2-run homers, the second by Keith Moreland, his 10th of the year. The Phils came back to make it 6-5 in the seventh, but Jerry Mumphrey blasted this 3-run homer off Kent Tekulve. 9-5 right there. The Cubs held on to win 9-7. North of the border now for the Mets and Expos, and the boys from New York playing long ball. In the first, Darryl Strawberry with a moonshot. A 3-run job, his 19th, make it 3-0. In the second, Howard Johnson right here makes it 4-2 Mets with a solo shot, his 12th of the year. And then in the fifth, after the Expos had tied it at 5-5, Gary Carter lashes a 2-run homer to left. His 8th of the year. It was 7-5 Mets there. They held on to win. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. There's the Cubs over the Phils 9-7. The Mets beating Montreal 10-7. In the 8th now, St. Louis leading Pittsburgh 6-5. Cincinnati over Atlanta 8-4. L.A. and Houston tied at 3-3 in the 9th. San Francisco and San Diego. It's just a live update right there. You see it. San Diego leading now 2-1 over San Francisco in the 5th. The Yanks with a chance to finish off a 4-game sweep of the Orioles at the stadium tonight, and at the same time possibly move into a first-place tie with Toronto in the American League East. A Yanks win and a Jays loss would do it. Calm down, Karen. At this point, I can tell you the Yanks did their part. Ron Kittle there with a base hit, scores Gary Ward. It's 2-0 Yanks in the first. In the second inning, Henry Cotto, he is on a tear, and he rips one to left field. It'll score Willie Randolph. And it's 3-0 Yankees, and they are rolling off Scott McGregor, who I could probably hit a homer off of. I know Henry Cotto could. In the 4th inning, a 2-run shot to right, his 4th of the year to make it 5-0. Yanks had to hold on to win. We take a look at the scoreboard. The O's scored 3 in the 9th, but it wasn't enough. Yankees beat them 6-3. The Yanks are now tied with the Blue Jays for first in the American League East. Toronto lost to Milwaukee tonight, 6-3. Other games, Cleveland over Boston 7-5. And in the second, in the third now, in a live update, California leading Kansas City 2-0. Mike Trues is on the ball tonight, the guy with the scores. U.S. Open Golf Championships with one round in the bag. The 87th affair opened up this afternoon in San Francisco, and Ben Crenshaw ended up with a 3-under-67 that gave him the lead in the clubhouse. And this clinic and long putting right here on the 13th hole was one of his best shots of the day. Yes, and it counts. Seve Ballesteros is right in the hunt, just a stroke behind Crenshaw. The beautiful chip shot from the skin of the green. Look at that baby. How about it? Johnny Miller who last played the Olympic course in San Francisco in the Open as a 19-year-old amateur, ended up with a 71, and he chips it home right here. Quick look at the leaderboard. Ben Crenshaw at -3, Seve, Tommy Nakajima, and Raymond Floyd at -2. All right, racing at Pocono Downs tonight. We take a look at the second feature won by Roni Mine and the Superfecta 3921, 323 and change. Fishing game forecast for tomorrow. And back tomorrow at 6 with a Friday sports tip. What was so funny? You're a Yankees fan. You're just elated.
I'll tell you later.
Okay. See you later. We just don't have time.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Still ahead, the great Chinese-American zoo swap.
But first, tonight's lottery numbers. The daily number is 529. And the big 4 number is 8184. We'll be right back.
Tossing 3 new tastes, fresh all day. McDonald's chicken salad, Oriental. McDonald's chef salad. McDonald's garden salad.
It's a good time for the great taste. 3 new tastes of McDonald's.
Skip the sports. Forget the funnies. Head straight for the coupon section of your newspaper. You'll find valuable coupons for great salads from McDonald's. It's easy.
I found them!
I told you.
Rayco has been reconditioning cars since 1947. Now, 3 decades later, we're still working to make your car better by adding T-tops and sunroofs, auto electronics, including the latest in high-tech, and Auto Amazing, reconditioning of your car inside and out from all things mechanical to cosmetic. And Rayco has a complete line of car accessories, too. We've taken care of you in the past. We'll take care of you in the future. Rayco.
Finally tonight, the Newswatch 16 update Video Zoo takes a slow boat to China.
It's an animal exchange program between the U.S. and China. Some residents of the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo left today for a trip to China. We're sending monkeys, lemurs, raccoons, and scarlet macaws. The Chinese will send us, among other things, a pair of pandas. Bon voyage to this modern-day Noah's Ark as it embarks on a trip halfway around the world.
I think we got a bit of trade out of that deal.
Yeah,
That's
like
Newswatch 16 update for Thursday.
For the team, thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.